get your popcorn ready as we talk about ball. Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, and it's on. Get your popcorn ready as we talk about ball. Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, and it's on. And it's on. And it's on.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation and Angry Cowboys fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and you're listening to the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, the place to find my raw and uncut in podcast form. And in this week's full episode, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys 2025 NFL Draft Haul. We'll be continuing the talks about why I feel Shedeur Sanders fell in this year's draft and how he can use said fall to his advantage. We'll be discussing how this draft continues the vision Brian Schottenheimer projected during his first interview as the Dallas Cowboys head coach. We'll also be picking a couple comments from the Angry Cowboys fan family and giving y'all my raw and uncut on said comments. There is a topic that I want to start this show off with, though, Cowboys Nation, a narrative that can easily be put to rest when it comes to the relationship between our QB1 Dak Prescott and our wide receiver 1 in CeeDee Lamb. All that and more during this episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast. Okay, Cowboys Nation. I remember when Dak Prescott, Will Greer, some tight ends, and some wide receivers, they got together and they were putting in work. They were getting their timing and their rhythm down, coming together as a unit that we really want to see, Cowboys Nation. There were a couple of guys missing from those workouts, though. The most noticeable guy that was missing was CeeDee Lamb. Shortly after, the rumors went flying around that CeeDee Lamb doesn't like Dak Prescott, and that's why he's not in any of the videos that you see. Well, over the weekend, during the draft, and into this week, a video surfaced of Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb putting in that work, Cowboys Nation. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at that video and come back and talk about it. Roll the clip.
Cowboys legend and Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith, who sounded off on his frustration regarding the Dallas Cowboys.
I got you. I got the ball. Got fullback. Watch the fuck out.
Blitz coming. Prescott able to get out of the end zone, and now airs it out for Lamb. He's got it.
The round out of it is because if he's undercutting you, the ball will be hit. But if not, then you can
W day in the chat, man. 2 a day. That's how I understand.
Came home, time passed, went back again. All the pain I felt inside myself.
We got 4 back. We got 4 back, Cowboys Nation. This is not the movements, the camaraderie, the actions of a frustrated relationship. This is not the movements of a fractured relationship. We got 4 back isn't something that someone would say that doesn't rock or have respect for Dak Prescott. It wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't because we got to say that, right, Cowboys Nation? No, that's absolutely not the case. CeeDee Lamb doesn't have to show up for these workouts. They're voluntary. He can just go into mandatory minicamps without catching one pass from Dak Prescott, and he would be well within his rights to do so. But he didn't, Cowboys Nation. He's putting in that work with his quarterback. He's working on that connection that a wide receiver and a quarterback needs to have. Iron sharpens iron, and they damn sure look good out there, Cowboys Nation. But y'all know how I do. I gotta keep it a buck with y'all, Cowboys Nation. I gotta give y'all my raw and uncut, because if you look at things, we live in a divided mindset. Real talk, Cowboys Nation. We're divided by politics. We're divided by social standings. We're divided by teams. And now some will want to divide us by players as well. If you like this player, then you're not a true Dallas Cowboy fan and you don't want the team to win. If you don't like this player, then you're a hater. You're not a true fan and you don't understand the game of football. We tend to believe in absolutes, Cowboys Nation. Either you are or you aren't. Either it's black or it's white, not realizing that there's a gray area in life. Do I believe that CeeDee Lamb had some frustration with Dak Prescott's play in some of the games? Yes, I do. Do I believe the frustration was reciprocated by Dak Prescott a few times? Yes, I do. That doesn't mean that one player doesn't like the other. That one player doesn't want to work with the other player. I've heard and read comments from Cowboys Nation that CeeDee Lamb doesn't want to work with Dak Prescott because Dak is trash. I've heard and read comments reminding me of what CeeDee Lamb's mom said. You know she wouldn't say that unless CeeDee Lamb said something to her. So you're insinuating that she can't formulate her own opinion about the game her son has played ever since high school. At the same time, that's insinuating that her own opinion is right, that Dak ain't it. But no matter how you feel about Dak Prescott or no matter how you feel about CeeDee Lamb, this was great to see, Cowboys Nation. Knowing that we will be going back to the 2025 NFL season with Dak Prescott at the helm and his number one wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb all working out together and improving that chemistry and connection, Cowboys Nation. It's great to see that both guys look healthy and ready to take on this NFL season. It's great to see that Dak Prescott hasn't lost a step in his footwork and he's maneuvering well enough on that surgically repaired hamstring. It looks as if he is confident on that leg, Cowboys Nation. His throw looks like he has nice velocity on him, and his base looks very strong. CeeDee Lamb's shoulder looks like it's healing very nicely. His range of movement in that shoulder looks great. His cuts and his breaks are on point. His hands, well, I mean, come on, Cowboys Nation, it's CeeDee Lamb. Of course his hands look like fly paper. But anyway, the most important thing to take away from that video is the fact that your QB1 and your wide receiver are on the same page. There's a chemistry between the two and a deep-rooted respect for each other. That's what that hug showed me, Cowboys Nation. I don't know about y'all, but I don't go around hugging everybody that I meet. There has to be a deep level of respect there. My question is, why would somebody paint it as if it's not? Why would somebody want to be that guy and be like, oh, that's for the cameras. That's just to make good in front of the cameras. You know what I'm saying? Division. Glass half empty type of people. Well, that's not how we roll over here, Cowboys Nation. We see videos like this, and we get pumped to see everything coming together. We get hyped to see our QB1 out there slinging the pill to his wide receiver 1 in CeeDee Lamb. We get ready for the next phase in the Dallas Cowboys season and continue to put positivity out there to give the fans something to hope for. I mean, I won't gas y'all up, y'all. You know that. I will not gas y'all up. I won't paint a turd and tell you that it's an Easter egg. I will keep it raw and uncut with y'all, but I will always keep it constructive and not destructive. So, Cowboys Nation, how do y'all feel about the video of Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb getting some much-needed reps in? Y'all go ahead and let me know in the comments section. But we're going to jump right to the next topic of this episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast. I feel like I got to go more in depth about my talks about the Shedeur Sanders sliding in the draft thing. I mean, I had some people in the comment section asking questions, throwing different scenarios out there and saying that I rock with you, Angry, but I'd have to disagree with you on this topic. First and foremost, I thank everybody who watched and had dialogue in the comment section. It was very respectful seeing what the overarching narrative was about the subject that we were talking about. It could have easily slipped off the ledge, but it didn't, and I thank each and every one of y'all for that. But I honestly feel it had absolutely nothing to do with race in this case. There is a fine line between confident and arrogant, Cowboys Nation. There's a fine line between confidence and cockiness, and Shedeur Sanders comes off as both. He comes off as the type to think just because his father was great, that automatically puts him in the line to be great, to be legendary. No, Cowboys Nation, it doesn't work that way, especially when he's not as talented as his father was at that age. Deion Sanders' played really spoke for itself. His natural ability outweighed any questions the teams might have had about his character. His football IQ and play on the field outweigh any reservations any GM might have at that time. The best corner in the draft, Cowboys Nation. A pretty good prospect in baseball as well. A natural-born leader. A trendsetter. Shedeur came off in this draft process thinking that he was the best quarterback and that's all he needed, Cowboys Nation. That he would be drafted number 1 overall. That teams would pick him over the quarterback who placed 4th in the Heisman Trophy race in Cam Ward. His cockiness showed at the combine interviews. Allegedly, the cockiness showed during the 30-day visits and his pro days. His cockiness showed when him and Cam Ward were throwing passes together. You know what? Let's go ahead and take a look at a few clips of Shedeur Sanders' cockiness so you can understand what other NFL teams were looking at and listening to.
Tell them what does Shedeur Sanders need? What do you hope to get out of the NFL to help you reach your maximum potential as fast as possible?
All I need is opportunity. Simple. Whatever franchise want to change their franchise, and there's no doubt who to go with. I've done it over and over and over, so you'll be a fool not to pick me. If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over, so it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people got to say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like diversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
They gave you a completion percentage award, and all you did was throw check downs and bubble screens.
That's actually crazy. If I did that, my completion percentage would be 90. I throw the ball downfield, you don't.
You ran the ball. You had a run game. You had a run game. You had a run game.
And you did it?
No.
You was told that thing for Georgia.
Think about total rushing yards.
It don't matter. That ain't my fault. Camel bitch.
Hey, you know, that's what I'm used to.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Just talking bad about your teammates. Just talking bad about his teammates, his O-line. Stay used to having bad pressure.
I mean, how many times did Raul get touched?
You said what?
How many times did Raul get touched? There was able, like, of course, whenever you're able to run the ball consistently, and whenever you're able to, then that opens up the pass, you know. But it's just like you got to understand like what your team good at. So it's like, why would we keep running the ball if we out there and we get in a situation where it's a must get and we don't get it?
Right. Are those kind of like 4th and 1 conversions that haven't gone your guys' way in the last couple? Is that kind of playing into everybody's mind? Is that kind of something on your mind thinking about advancing the ball and whatnot?
Nah, I'd rather if we're gonna go down, I'd rather go down swinging, honestly, because I know I can throw the best punch.
So, Cowboys Nation, do you think that these are the words of a #1 overall pick of the draft? Thinking you're the best athlete out on the field, not taking any accountability and continuing to throw your teammates under the bus. He didn't have a run game. He's used to pressure from the defensive line, meaning his offensive line wasn't good. What GM wants to bring that type of attitude to a team? Could you imagine him being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and having a press conference after getting our ass whooped by the Green Bay Packers in 2023? That man would have blamed everybody under the sun except for himself. Also, what I meant in my last video about Deion Sanders coaching Shedeur Sanders his entire life is that he doesn't get to participate in things other players do when they have different coaches throughout their high school and their college careers. He didn't have to worry about position battles and someone taking his spot. His father wasn't going to allow that to happen. I also had a comment saying that John Elway's father coached him throughout his high school and his college career. But Cowboys Nation, that's absolutely not true. Even though Jake Elway was a college football coach, he didn't formally coach John Elway in high school or in college. I mean, he may have given him some fatherly advice, but nothing was official. Deion Sanders has officially been Shedeur Sanders' coach his entire career. So do you think Shedeur had to fight for his spot as hard as a Dylan Gabriel did in Oregon? I don't think so, Cowboys Nation. But as far as being a father, Deion Sanders did an amazing job with those boys. He made sure his sons got the finest education. He made sure they stayed away from the streets. He made sure they didn't have to worry. They were well taken care of because of the work he put in during his career. Real talk, Deion Sanders is the father of the damn decade, if you ask me. But as far as being a coach and an agent, there was a reason why Shiloh Sanders elected to attain representation during the draft. Check this out.
Dad was our agent, but that hasn't been working out too good. So today I had to sign with an agent, bro. So we're going to see what happens.
I mean, it's nothing against Deion Sanders, but I feel what he's doing is the same thing Jerry Jones is doing as being the Cowboys owner/GM. He was too involved in Shedeur Sanders' development as an NFL prospect. It feels to me that Shedeur wasn't properly informed on what to expect during those interviews during the 30-day visits, the pro day, and the combine. Shedeur was left to talk to these reporters and analysts as if he was hosting another one of his episodes of his podcast. He was left to go up there and gloat. There were so many times that he referred to his father. Like, do you know who my father is? Or, I'm easy to find. My dad's been around. Also, when a reporter asked what he couldn't live without, it's not time to mention your jewelry, Shedeur. You know you can't live without your jewelry, but that doesn't mean that an NFL owner needs to know that you can't live without your jewelry. That was the time when Shedeur Sanders should have went up there and said something like, you know what? I can't live without playing football. From the day I picked up a football, I knew I wanted to make a difference in this sport. Being from a family of elite talent, being from a bloodline of elite talent, I feel I have what it takes to continue that legacy as I forge my own path as an NFL quarterback and hope to help get an organization that drafts me to the top and win a Super Bowl. Doesn't that sound better, Cowboys Nation? I mean, I've never been a part of an NFL draft or anything, but I bet you an NFL GM would rather hear that than what they heard from Shedeur Sanders. From the stories around the league, Shedeur approached those interviews as if the teams were lucky to have him in their presence and not the other way around, Cowboys Nation. And let's keep it a buck. Character issues make you slip in the draft. It's not as if GMs and NFL execs just found out that Shedeur Sanders was a black man. They knew this ever since the draft process started. They knew this ever since they heard his name. They knew he was Deion Sanders' son before the draft process even started, before any 30-day visits even started, before the combine. The important people knew who Shedeur Sanders was. From the outside, the more his personality shined through, the more GMs and execs got turned off. Was he out there stealing or racking up charges? No, he wasn't, and that's where I give Deion Sanders his props. Shedeur had the ability to keep away from trouble, and Deion handled his duties as a father like a boss. I just feel Deion didn't handle his final duties as a coach and an agent to properly prepare his son for the wolves when it comes to the interviewing process and how to conduct himself as a likable and humble NFL prospect. Deion Sanders could approach the draft like his shit didn't stink because his raw ability warranted it. Shedeur Sanders isn't as talented as his father, and he's trying to covet the ultimate position of the team and the organization, the face of the franchise, the quarterback. Kendrick Lamar said it best, Cowboys Nation. Be humble. Sit down. So I hope this whole situation has humbled Shedeur Sanders. I hope it placed a chip on his shoulder to go out there and destroy any team who passed him up in this year's draft. Teams like the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New Orleans Saints. I hope he uses his snub as a driving force to be the best player and person he can be moving forward. I understand that players have their welcome to the NFL moment when they hit the field. I think Shedeur Sanders had his welcome to the NFL moment during this year's draft. 32 owners and GMs quickly showed Shedeur Sanders that no one is bigger than the Shield. Not one player is more legendary than the NFL. So good luck to Shedeur Sanders in his attempts to become the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. They have a quarterback room filled with candidates. No one is solidified yet. I hope he uses his moments to his advantage and shows the Browns why they indeed drafted him. Now let's go ahead and move on to some Dallas Cowboys talk. Cowboys Nation, I know we didn't get a wide receiver and a running back early in this year's draft, but we can't sit here and act like the guys that were picked in the first 3 rounds aren't high-quality players. Tyler Booker is a mountain of a man with the driving force and ambition to strip opposing players' love for the game away. D-Easy, on the opposite side of Micah Parsons, getting that pressure to the quarterback. Siobhan Revel, when healthy, can be a lockdown cornerback opposite of Deron Bland. Let's not act as if we didn't get a potential gasher in Jaden Blue. How about the bruiser back Phil Moffitt out of Clemson? Just because they aren't Ashton Genty or Travion Henderson doesn't mean Brian Schottenheimer won't know how to use them in the scheme him and Clayton Adams are cooking up, Cowboys Nation. This also plays right into the philosophy that Brian Schottenheimer is trying to implement with this iteration of the Dallas Cowboys. He's talked about being a physical team on both sides of the ball. He's spoken about being violent on both sides of the ball. Grabbing players like Tyler Booker and D-Easy makes you more physical in the trenches. Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa makes you more physical in the backfield. Jay Toya makes you more scrappy on the interior defensive line. We are currently seeing Brian Schottenheimer's vision come to life, and it's pretty exciting to see, Cowboys Nation. But one thing that ruffles Cowboys Nation's feathers is the fact that they didn't prioritize the wide receiver 2 position in this year's draft. This tells me that the ownership and Brian Schottenheimer believes in Jalen Tolbert. They believe in his ability to make that next jump in his career this season. They trust that he will be a bigger factor in this year's roster. They also could feel that with the stable of wide receivers that we do have, 1 to 2 players should be able to emerge and make an impact on the field. The Dallas Cowboys love to think of itself as a draft and develop type of team. How can they do that if they're drafting and replacing someone every other year and not giving them the opportunity to develop? People are hanging it up on Ryan Flournoy, and he hasn't even hit the field, really. Fans are giving up on Jonathan Mingo, and he hasn't even seen the field much. And when he did see the field, he impressed with his route running ability. We have to give these guys a chance to show us what they can do before we just throw them away to the wolves, Cowboys Nation. But one thing that I did like about this past draft is the fact that the Dallas Cowboys now have what it takes to have a solidified rotation at the defensive end position to continue the pressure from the defensive lines. No matter what package you put on the field, the Dallas Cowboys will have a solid pass rusher on the field. Players like Micah Parsons, Sam Williams, Marshawn Nealon, D. Easy from this year's draft. Don't know how to pronounce his last name, and I don't want to butcher it. You also have Peyton Turner. You got Tyrus Wheat and Dante Fowler Jr., who came from the Washington Commanders. This position, I can honestly say the Dallas Cowboys have gotten much better at. The Cowboys have also gotten better at the linebacker position and defensive tackle position than last year. We've gotten better at the running back position, even though I feel the Dallas Cowboys should have held on to Rico Dowdle. The offensive line may have lost a legend, but I feel it's gotten better with the addition of Tyler Booker. The only place that we didn't get better is the wide receiver department, and I hope Jerry and Stephen Jones actually corrects this by signing a free agent wide receiver. Speaking of free agent wide receivers, there have been rumors, there have been reports that the Dallas Cowboys are looking into free agency to add another wide receiver to the roster. Who will that wide receiver be? Which wide receiver free agent would fit perfectly with the Dallas Cowboys? Some say Keenan Allen, while others say Amari Cooper. I say no matter which one you pick, each one could be a great complementary piece alongside CeeDee Lamb. Me, personally, I would like Amari Cooper back with the Dallas Cowboys. Every Cowboys fan knows that Jerry and Stephen Jones shouldn't have allowed the trade to Cleveland to happen in the first place. We should have been able to have CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper on the same lineup for a long time to come, Cowboys Nation. Bringing him back to the Dallas Cowboys would give us another veteran presence in that locker room, one that knows the system and is not ashamed to say, I'm wide receiver 2 and eat while on the field. I understand people will say he disappears during away games, but maybe the guy has matured since he left the Dallas Cowboys. Just because he did it when he was a Dallas Cowboy doesn't mean that he continued to do it. Does anybody know if he did it with the Browns? Does anybody know if he did it with the Bills? No, did he? But no, you don't, because no one paid attention from the Dallas Cowboys fan base. Nobody reported on it. No talking head reported about it like they did when he was a Dallas Cowboy. Cooper could give this team a jolt that we didn't get during this year's draft. And believe me, Cowboys Nation needs a jolt. They need a shot in the arm to get us on board this year. All right, Cowboys Nation, this is the end of the Angry Cowboys Fan Podcast, episode 5, which means I'm going to select 2 comments from my comment section to give my raw and uncut on. The first comment comes from Alien Overlords Now 1786. The comment reads, "The Browns look like that for every pick. Very gloomy people. They are depressed from years of the draft picks failing. That's the look of complete hopelessness." Well, Alien Overlords Now, that is just not true. I hate to say it. I got to give my raw and uncut on it. It is not true. The Browns don't look like this every pick. The Browns didn't look like this when they picked Mason Graham with their first overall pick. The Browns didn't look like this when they got Quinshon Judkins. They didn't even look like this when they got Dylan Gabriel. They only looked like that when they got Shedeur Sanders. I mean, if you go back to their actual YouTube channel and watch their phone conversation with Mason Graham as opposed to their phone conversation with Shedeur Sanders, you will see the compare and contrast. You will see how they felt about Mason Graham, and you will see how they felt about Shedeur Sanders. You can even look at Dylan Gabriel's phone call and see how they're smiling, how they're interacting with him, and what they said to him. They told Shedeur Sanders that nothing comes cheap. You're not going to be given your position. You're going to have to come in here and fight for it. Every prospect didn't get that talk. Only one did, and that's Shedeur Sanders. And I hate to say it, but it's comments like this that hold accountability from Shedeur that is going to stagnate him from actually growing and becoming a full-fledged NFL quarterback, a starting franchise quarterback. The lack of accountability is what's hurting Shedeur Sanders. Deion Sanders can help him. Shiloh can help him. But like I said, Kendrick Lamar said it best. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. But I truly appreciate you, Aliens, Overlords, Now 1786. Truly appreciate you rocking with the channel, being a part of the Angry Cowboys fan family. But if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We talk about the things that are NFL, and most importantly, we talk about the things that are Dallas Cowboys. Hope to see you in the comments section on a later date, on a later video. I appreciate you, bro. All right, Cowboys Nation, and the last one that I'm going to go over is from Champ K9C. It reads, swag, blackness is flashy. You don't know your history, my man. His character is sound. It was the establishment making an example, period. Even the president called it. Make it make sense. You are not making it. Sorry. I'm not making sense. I mean, to a lot of people, I am making sense, but there's a select few of people that really don't get it. They don't understand that this man needs to take accountability for his actions. It's not because everybody and their mama wanted to see him slide. It's because they wanted to get a dose of reality to Shedeur Sanders. To give him a dose of reality saying that, bro, you are not what you are putting yourself out to be. I mean, is he a good quarterback? Yes, he's a good quarterback. He's done some good things in college, has some great stats in college, but the thing is, he's not humble. And if you can't see that, you're saying his character's sound. His character may be sound, but he is not a humble dude. There is a reason why 32 other teams passed up on him 4 times over. There was a reason why that happened, and it's not because he's a black man. It's not because he's a Sanders. It's because of his attitude. It's because of his demeanor. It's because of his quarterback intangibles, the things off of the field. I showed you the clips on this podcast. I showed you the clips of his cockiness, of his arrogance, and it needs to be toned down, and that's what 32 other owners and GMs did in the draft. They toned it down. But anyhow, I appreciate your comment. I appreciate you coming over to the channel, but accountability needs to be had. And until he has accountability, he's not going to reach the heights that he sees himself reaching. Until he has accountability of himself and conducts himself as an NFL franchise quarterback, the face of the franchise, you're going to have people turned off by legendary entertainment. You're going to have people turned off by his podcast. You're going to have people turned off by his rap music. If he can't make the main thing, then why should they spend a premium pick on him? I mean, shoot, even Cam Ward said it. I put it in the clips. You can go back and you can watch the clips. But to say that I don't know my history, my guy, you're way off base. I'll keep it a buck. You are way off base. I definitely know my history. I'm definitely in tune with my history. And I know what cockiness looks like when I see it. But I appreciate your comment. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys fan. Cowboys Nation, it is hot as a mofo in my studio. It's starting to get hotter. They were doing some work in my place, so that's why I can't go live right now. But when I go live, we're going to talk about it. But what do y'all feel about this podcast episode? How y'all feel about what I said about Shedeur Sanders, what I said about Dak and CeeDee, about the topics of this podcast? Y'all know how we do it. We always talk about it in the comment section. But if you're digging this content and want to help the Angry Cowboys Fan reach 10,000 subscribers before training camp, drop a like on this video and please consider sharing it with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan. If you are DC for life and you're rocking with the Angry Cowboys Fan through the 2025 season and beyond, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release a video, podcast episode, film breakdown, or Madden 25 or College Football 25 gameplay. And look what your man got on. He got the shirt I'm an Angry Cowboys Fan shirt on. So if you want an Angry Cowboys Fan shirt that says I'm an Angry Cowboys Fan, go ahead and hit your man up. Follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, and here on YouTube. Subscribe, and you can get your chance to get one of these shirts. I will have them on sale. Y'all go ahead and let me know what y'all want to do. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. See you on the next episode, and I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys Fan, you done made it through the entire video. But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.